Thank you very much. First of all, I bring you greetings of solidarity from Ghana and from Africa. I work for Third World Network, but my presence here represents thousands and thousands of communities who are affected by mining across Africa. We know that mining companies, like any profit-seeking corporation, is usually chasing profit. And where your ethic of operation is tied to profit, there are questions about the extent to which you can exercise greed. That is what pertains in Africa. All mining companies that are chasing profit knows no boundaries, they knows no community rights, they knows no community ownership, and they knows no community culture. This therefore requires some amount of regulation to balance profitability with ethical investment. We know that the standards of investment in Africa are terribly low. They are low in terms of protecting the environment. They are low in terms of protecting community rights. They are low in terms of translating the benefit of mining to development in Africa. And that is why we're very excited that Canada was taking a step to regulate Canadian mining operating internationally. We were equally very excited because Canada is one of the very few countries that has a lot of mining companies operating in Africa. Currently, the number is more than 1,000 companies. Whether they are listed in Canadian Stock Exchange or whether they are Canadian public-owned companies, the name of Canada and the values of Canada are attached to these companies who are operating in Africa. Finally, when you collect all these, put all these together, we think that it was justified for Canada to take the leadership. But we were very much disappointed when we noticed that among all the recommendations, there is a great shift from the mandatory regulation to voluntary regulation, which means to us that the issue about ownership of resources, the issue of rights, the issue of development are jettisoned for corporate interests. The 140,000 signatories that you have here, there are thousands and thousands of community people who would have wished to append their signature for similar issues, but they don't have the right because they have no access to education. The state has no the necessary resources to ensure access to education, and that was what we wanted Canada to regulate companies. We also know that through the Canadian International Development Agency, Canada is assisting in various ways. One of them is assisting African government to transform to democratic rule and entrenching democracy in Africa. But allowing corporations without regulation means that you are encouraging some amount of violence which will be very inconsistent to democracy. And we think that turning away from mandatory regulation to voluntary regulation is very much inconsistent with Canadian values. It is very much inconsistent with Canadian support for transforming Africa. Thank you very much.